Yo, what's good? Mike O from Let's Talk About It. Hit that subscribe button. So, we just watched a snooze fest from Shakur Stevenson. Yet another one. And I gotta say that this is getting a little played out from him. The key rule in boxing, they say, is to hit and not be hit. But, brother, you got to do some more hitting. And I understand his power punches was at a high rate, but I think the problem with Shakur Stevenson is he sits around and waits too much to counterpunch, to the point where fans are sitting there watching you just stand there, and that could be boring. And I don't want to hear a comparison to Floyd Mayweather because their fighting styles are similar defensively, but that's it. You know, Floyd didn't have to go through this whole thing of dancing around, especially when he was fighting in his true weight class, which is what Shakur Stevenson is doing. He's fighting at 130, 135. That's his weight class. When Floyd Mayweather was fighting at that weight class, he had a high knockout percentage. He was knocking cats out. And Shakur isn't doing that. And then you have him now fighting our team Hariturian. I'm sure I'm destroying that name, but these are the fights where you take chances, where you try to deliver a knockout fight. I didn't see many times where he was throwing a flurry of punches. This is where he should be showcasing other skills that he has besides defense. I'd really like to see him do something other than elude punches. I didn't see any flurries. I didn't see a series, of combos, you know, 3 punch, 4 punch, 5 punch combinations. I didn't see any of that. So, with that being said, why would I want to see him fight anybody next? I don't want to see him fight Lomachenko. I don't want to see him fight Tank Davis if this is going to be the output that you're putting in. If this is going to be the offensive effort that you're putting in to your fights and your performances, I don't want to see you fight any elite fighters. I'm sorry. I just don't want to see it. What you did now for the second time now is give us a snooze fest. When I came into this fight, I was prepared. I had 2 cups of coffee. I had 2 no-dose pills, and I had a couple energy drinks just to try to fight the temptation from going to sleep to avoid what I just witnessed. And again, I don't know. First you do this when you fought, Edwin De Los Santos, and now this. Like I just don't get it. This was the type of fight where you definitely could have taken more risk. You could have let your hands go. You can take a punch. I don't know if you can physically take a punch, but you should be able to be hit. I know that that's the object of the game, but I would at least have liked for you to have some moments of scrapping, have some moments of fighting, have some exchanges. And I'm not saying that had to be the main ingredient of your fighting strategy, but I would have just liked to see it. I would have liked to see that you have some kind of, offensive weapons, some kind of dominant punch that you're known for, and you're just known for defense. Shakur Stevenson is just known for his defense, and I like to see more from him. I really would like to see more from him because what I saw from him is something that I've seen in the past. I've seen that, De La Hoya fighting Trinidad, but that's a mega fight. I don't approve of dancing around in the ring to avoid punches. However, if it's a mega fight, I get it. But the fight that you had tonight, it was nothing. This opponent was an opponent that you should have been able to showcase a different Shakur Stevenson. And we didn't get to see that. And that's disappointing. And then with that lets you know, again, second fight in a row, it lets you know that when you have a Lomachenko in your face, when you have a Tank Davis in your face, this is what we're going to see. Because if you're not throwing any punches, against your last two fights, why would we even think that you would throw punches against two of the top fighters at 135? Why? Why would you think you do that? I would think that I would see even less offense and more defense. And not to mention, you're a counter puncher, which it makes it even more challenging to watch you because you're standing around waiting for a punch to get thrown so you can throw one. And and this is what I mean. You're fighting elite opponents. When you're fighting elite opponents, I would maybe be expecting you to dance around a little bit more. But fighters like you've been facing your last two fights, these are the fights that you show that you can showcase your offensive skills as well as your defense. These are the fights where other fighters, other promoters, are wanting to see you fight. If you're supposed to deliver either a knockout or dissect this man for 12 rounds, and you really didn't do that. You can be, I would have at least wanted to see something more on the lines of Mayweather and Gotti. I would have thought that you should have been able to deliver that type of beat down during this fight. And you really didn't do it. Again, you are a defensive specialist. I will take my hat off to your defense. But offensively, you're not there. You're not there at all. And until you can have more offensive output, you'll never get Lomo and you'll never get Tank. So we're going to be speaking upon the next few weeks about who you should fight next, who would deserve a fight against you at this point. And I'm not seeing much. I'm going to be honest. I'm not seeing much. I don't want to see, I'm not even interested in seeing you fight at 135. I think you should go to 130. Maybe you can deliver some knockout power. But I need more defense from you. I need way more defense from you. And if that's not what's going to happen, I don't know what should be next for you. I really don't. Especially at 135, there's not a lot of food at 135. There's three boxers, including Shakur Stevenson himself. And I've mentioned them already. Tank, Lomo. That's it. That's all that's going to really matter in these next up-and-coming fights. And you prove that you can't fight either one of these fighters. And it's not that you can't fight either one of these fighters. It's no one wants to see you fight any of these fighters. This is your second fight in a row. And you're not even fighting top competition. And you can't make it exciting. And at this point, there are fighters who kind of fall back, make the fight exciting, draw people in, make people watch. And I think that you are more focused about not getting hit and winning. And I think it's more to it than that. If you want to be an elite boxer, you have to give your fans, you have to give viewers, you have to give promoters an exciting fight. Otherwise, no one wants to see that. Thank God this wasn't pay-per-view. I could just imagine how many people would be pissed having to drop $50 to $75 to watch what we just witnessed. The way you fought was as if you were an undercard fight. This was the main event. This was the main event and we got this product. And it was sad. You know, it frustrates it frustrates those non-boxing fans who would want to get introduced to boxing. And if that was their first introduction, they would have been highly disappointed and would have turned back on MMA. That's what they would have done. And it's just too bad, because I think you have the potential, Shakur Stevenson has the potential, you know, of course, to be one of the greatest in boxing currently. But he can't give a good show. I mean, and unfortunately, you know, boxing is all about winning, no doubt. He can go 5 years of giving this type of performances and go 35-0. But what would happen is you'd still be a mediocre fight. You still just be aired on ESPN, you know, FX or whatever, you know, fighting channels that they have. That's what you would be, you know, left at. No pay-per-view. You know, I don't think that no one would be interested in fighting you, you know, and it's just not much left. But I don't know. You know, you guys let me know what you think. Please comment, like, subscribe. You know, his Shakur Stevenson, he's too young to not get fights and not get bigger opportunities, but who wants to see it? You know, do you think he should fight at 130? Should he move up at 135, or, you know, continue 135, continue to try to press a Lomo? Should he try to press a Tank Davis to get that big fight? You know, let me know what you think. Like, follow, subscribe. Until next time, I am out.